everyone. Welcome to the Aquarian Mind podcast. Today's podcast, episode number 225. I'm your host, Jamel Crothers. It's Book Insight Friday, but I'm not delving into a book today. So sorry to bust your bubble. But today I do want to talk about the one thing I'm proud of as a writer and creator. And I need to share this with you guys because it may spark something in you guys. But let's just get into it and let's flow with it. Now, I wanted to share something about my journey as a writer. And I can truthfully say that as an author, I never give up. I am persistent, driven, and I am proud of myself for that. And I'm not one to toot my own horn or brag about what I've accomplished. But when I have conversations with my mom, she always says that I'm always looking to see what's next. And for her to be proud of me, it feels good. And I know there's so much that goes into the work that I am doing. And there's so much that I do, and it takes so much mental focus, being consistent and being patient on my journey. And the investments I make, to garner more attention with my books, my podcasts, and other things, it takes plenty of time. And some investments go well and some don't. But I'm careful in what I invest into these days. And I know people say the cliche, what you spend on gets you exposure. It's great that we get exposure, but the goal is to engage readers and get them to buy our books and our content. And also to listen to this podcast too. And it's taking time for me to sit and reflect on everything I've done and accomplished. And I don't spend a lot of time looking back on what I've done because I feel like I have such a long way to go on my journey. And it's about not giving into the doubters or the negativity. And I try my best to give writers and authors positive words of affirmation that it's a marathon and a journey, not a race. And recently, there was an author, she had posted, a little map of the United States, and she colored in certain states and said, I've sent my books to, these states, these places or whatever. And I said that, and I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. And I live in Arizona, so, the state of Arizona was not colored in. So I decided to share with her a bookstore that I plan on actually, putting my books into at some point this year. And I've already, read what the guidelines are and things like that. So I shared with her that she can reach out to that bookstore and they will send her the form. It's a consignment form. Consignment basically is a relationship between an author and a bookstore where sometimes the author gets to determine what percentage they'll take from the book sales. Sometimes stores have it set in stone. This bookstore has it set in stone where they make 60 and the author makes 40. But I didn't tell her that. She'll find that out as time progresses. And I told her there's 2 locations, one in Phoenix, one in Tempe. And you can reach out to them and, they'll send out the form and things like that. And she can read it over and figure it out. She lives in the Midwest. So she's very thankful for that. And that made me feel good because, a lot of authors are trying to get themselves noticed, trying to get their, books into bookstores, things like that. And sometimes the smaller bookstores, authors will do, self-published authors will do much better. And sometimes the smaller bookstores, even though this bookstore has 2 locations and it's, pretty big as far as their collection and what they carry, but, that's just another opportunity for her to get her books out and her content out. And for me, it's about helping others. And I can say that I felt good in saying, okay, I passed on the information to someone that will be able to, get their content, moved. And I will say, for me, it's always about finding new ways to get attention for the content that I create. So it's trial and error, it's learning what works, what doesn't, and knowing that certain things that work for others won't necessarily work for me. So recently, I went back to the drawing board and I looked back on certain investments that I made in the past, smaller ones that didn't cost me a ton, that did work in a way, but I was like only 30 books when I did that investment. So now I have more books in the realm that I can say, okay, some of these books fit more into me, working with a certain website that will, push my books out to their subscribers or whatever the case is. So certain categories I've kind of worked my way into and what they have on their website. So I said, okay, that's something that may work. I have other things that I'm doing, that to get my, YouTube page noticed more, and, to get this podcast noticed more, things like that. So I'm very mentally focused on that, and I'm proud of myself for that, because in years past, I have walked away from things and I've given up. Not gonna lie. In my early 20s, I was into sports, and I had a little sports show on YouTube, and this is before YouTube, went crazy with their ads. The ads wasn't as prevalent as it is now. For those who know, they know. And I was doing a sports show, but my mistake is I didn't have an external drive for all of my content. And when my laptop crashed, that was it for me. I stopped doing it, and I went back to doing what I was doing. Another thing that I did in my past was I was a basketball referee for a sports league for 7 years, and then I left that, and I got certified as a basketball referee. Only did that for a year, and I walked away. And when I walked away from those things, I shifted back into corporate America, and I work in the medical field during the day, just to give you guys the heads up. But I shifted into writing, and I write my books now, and it's been a very fulfilling journey for me. And I know I'm not where I want to be at as far as my books getting noticed and things of that nature, but I enjoy the journey more, because when one or two books starts to get noticed, then people want to know how many other books you have. And by the time people really start to really pay attention and realize, I'll be at 50 books. And I'm at 46 as I'm recording this. So, patience and persistence get you where you want to go. I will sit here and tell you to stay focused on your journey. Don't give up on what you're passionate about. If you want to be a writer and an author, go for it, do it. I will give you all the self-publishing advice that you could ever want or need. If you're in need of advice on getting an agent, I would say go on Twitter. There's a lot of writers and authors that are working to get an agent and submitting their content and things like that. And I always say to each its own. But it's all a process. It's a journey. It's continuous growth. It's knowing that you will get to where you want to be. And I will consistently tell you that on my podcast. Focus on enjoying the work, the grind, the process, because one day people will want to know your story and how you achieved the success and greatness that you will be experiencing. So just know, if you start to say in your mind that you're going to be successful and you're going to do well in whatever you're passionate about and doing, your purpose will continue to drive you. And for me, my books are about changing the world one book at a time. That's my mantra. And it's also to start conversations, and uncomfortable ones, not the, little brief conversations that people have among their friends and their family. It's now time to have those uncomfortable conversations with other people and learn of who they are and their stories and where they are in their lives and what got them to where they are. So that's what a lot of my books are about. And it's about making significant changes in what's going on around us. And it's whether we're aware of a lot of things that are going on around us. The books that I've written, I've learned a lot through extensive research before I went and wrote a lot of these stories. So I'm just not a guy that's just going to, pick up a laptop or a phone or an iPad and go typing away. I put time and work into it. So I'm thankful for my journey, and I honestly wouldn't change a lot of what I've done as far as the books I've written, the podcasts I've recorded, things of that nature. So with that said, that's my podcast for today. I wanted to share something different. I wanted to go down a different road with the book insight. I will be taking a brief break from the podcasting for 2 weeks. Doing it because I need to step away from the podcasting for a little bit and go back to other projects that I've been neglecting for months, which is my YouTube page, my TikTok page, and all of that. And I need to be able to record those things. So if you guys want to follow me there, my social medias is available on my website, aquariummindwrites.com. Writes is WRITES, by the way. And my podcast website, the aquariummindpodcast.com. But my YouTube page is Jamel Crothers. My TikTok page is Aquarian Mellow. My Instagram is Aquarian Mellow. Twitter is Aquarian Mind 1, which is the number 1. You guys can find me on all of those other social media platforms. And of course, my books are available everywhere except, you got it, Amazon. My books are not on Amazon. So definitely look into that. I will be returning on Monday, March 20th. I will be, making my return back to podcasting, and I will be, going on a nice stretch run for a good few weeks before I take another hiatus, another break, in order to start preparing myself to write my books this summer. So with that said, I hope you guys have a good weekend. Stay focused, and look forward to getting back to the podcasting on March 20th. Be good, everyone, and go accomplish your goals.